Hello, everyone. I am Ryan Clifton Bowling. Thank you for joining me. As we all know, we have a severe border crisis. That's no secret to anyone who's bothering to even grace the mainstream news. That should be no secret to anyone. But what is infuriating to a lot of Americans, including myself, obviously, is that both the Republicans and Democrats have approved, I think, a $40 billion money package, for lack of a better word, to be given to Ukraine to assist them. Now, I don't need to say how crazy and ludicrous that is. We're suffering here in our own country from all kinds of financial problems, and you want to give this kind of money to people who are not even a part of not even in our country. What about your children in your own backyard? That's like me having children in my home. I have children living in my home. They're starving, and I'm giving money and aid to kids down the street. It's good to be good to people. But when you can't be good to your own, that shows how crazy you are. It shows how hypocritical you are. And it shows how far from reality you are. And this right now is what the Biden administration and these rhinos are doing. They are giving money, billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine, while we have situations here like, what is it, baby formula? There's a situation, some of you probably heard about the baby formula situation, where mothers in America can't find baby formula to feed their own babies. And here you have the Biden administration and rhinos giving billions of dollars to people who are not even in this country. Now, you figured it out. You explain to me the rationale behind it, and I might be happy about it. But until then, it makes no sense. So let's get into this. Let's get into this article here. Again, I'm going to give you an even deeper analysis of this. So the title of this article is exclusive. Trump's ICE chief. GOP shouldn't be talking about Ukraine while terrorists exploit U.S. border. Now, that's the main deal here. We got them getting money, talking about Ukraine and giving money to Ukraine. But when we have terrorists here in our own border, now listen to this coming in our own border. Now listen to this. Thomas Homan, the former acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE director, says House and Senate Republicans, quote, shouldn't be talking about Ukraine while terrorists are exploiting the United States-Mexico border to enter the nation. This is a sad, sad situation. You can't help but wonder, is there some kind of agenda? I personally believe, as I said in the previous video, I personally believe that there is a dangerous agenda, but it can be changed. There is still hope for this country. I'm going to go on. During an exclusive interview with Breitbart News Daily, Holman seemingly called out the 149 House Republicans who joined House Democrats to approve $40 billion in aid for Ukraine, even as the nation's own borders remain the most porous in American history. This is terrible. It's the worst in American history. The worst in American history. I said this before, that I fought both the Republicans and the Democrats in the past 2 decades who talked about dealing with the border crisis and the border and securing our border, but never did anything about it except when Trump came on the scene. But now we have a situation here where under the Biden administration, it's the worst in history, according to this article. It's a shame. They shouldn't want to be talking about the infrastructure bill. They shouldn't be talking about a budget. They shouldn't be talking about Ukraine, Holman said. They ought to be saying, you know what? We're not going to sit down and talk to you about anything until you show us at least one thing you're going to do to hold the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas accountable for securing the border, because it's a huge national security issue, he continued. You just need to boycott. I think that's the way it should go, Holman said. The House Republicans who voted for the billions in Ukraine aid included those from GOP leadership like Kevin McCarthy, Elise Stefanik, and Stephen Silas. Meanwhile, 57 House Republicans, including Jim Banks, Kat Kamak, Thomas Macy, and Matt Rosendale, voted against the aid. The vote came as Mayorkas told Congress last month that he was unsure if any border crossers linked to terrorism had been released into American communities as part of the Biden administration expansion catch and release network. The vote came as Mayorkas told Congress last month that he was unsure. Man, come on, man. Get out of here. Come on. You think people going to believe that nonsense? Have any of the 42 illegal migrants on the terrorist watch list or no-fly list encountered at our southwest border been released into the United States? Mayorkas was asked by Representative Jim Jordan. With respect to the disposition of each one, I do not know the answers to your question, Mayorkas responded. Since President Joe Biden took office in January 2021, 42 illegal aliens on the FBI terrorist watch list or no-fly list have been apprehended at the southern border. Now get this. In April 2021, 2 illegal aliens from Yemen arrived at the border. Both were on the terrorist watch list and the no-fly list. Let me say this real quick. I'm glad true terrorists are on the terrorist list rather than conservative parents crying out against CRT, but that's another story, and I digress. They've arrested people from 161 countries. Wow. Over 2.5 million encountered at the border since Joe Biden became president, Harmon said. Add to that 700,000 gotaways if they arrested 42 on the terrorist watch list. How many of the 700,000 that got into this country without being arrested are on that same list? That's the end of the article there. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. This is the mess that we're in here under the Biden administration. And I said this before. It was a foolish, dangerous move when President Joe Biden removed aid and money from the wall that former President Trump built to try to protect our country. So to me, that shows some kind of dark agenda that is going on here. A dark agenda that unless American people in this country wake up and start putting the right people in office and start crying out and exposing this country is going to go down the hill. See, people in America, I believe that people in America take their freedoms for granted. I don't think really people, whether you Democrat, Republican, independent, or moderate or whatever, I think people in America basically take their freedoms for granted. Their freedom of speech, their freedom of religion, their freedom to own a gun, their freedom to be whatever they want to be in life. If you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, and get paid swell for it. If you work hard, you're going to get it. They take these things for granted. And as one critic or commentator in the book said, people in America take these things for granted until one day they wake up and have lost all these privileges and benefits that the Constitution had provided us. Then we sit back wondering what happened. We end up just like any of these other third world communist countries because people didn't wake up to what was going on. People were not involved politically. And I'm not talking about becoming a politician. What I simply mean is being aware of what's going on both sides. Not just the progressive liberals and what they're pushing, but on both sides, what the Republicans are saying, what the conservatives are saying, hearing both sides so you can make the best choices for this country. And right now, in my opinion, the best choices is the GOP. The best choices is the conservative way, in my opinion. Because so far, they're not pushing extreme progressive ideologies and ideas for our country like the progressive Democrats are doing. And these rhinos are doing. Who are sellouts to me. I don't know how much money they're getting paid, but they sure are sellouts. But going back to what I said earlier, a lot of Americans take this for granted. They take their freedoms for granted. If we don't say something, if Americans don't wake up, our country it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed. If adults on both sides do not wake up and see what is going on in our country, it's going to be destroyed. The culprits of this is progressive Democrats and rhinos. And if you can identify the progressive Democrats who are in many ways, basically, rather, are communists and socialists, and if you don't identify these rhinos, Republicans in name only, if you don't identify them, they're going to trick you, they're going to deceive you and pull you into a web of destruction, the likes of which this country have never seen before. And I know that sounds cynical, and I know that sounds frightening, but it is what it is. It's reality. That's how look throughout history. China, Cuba, Russia, and all these other countries before they became communist countries. Look at how they were, how the communists came in and took over bit by bit, piece by piece. Next thing you know, the people didn't have any freedoms because they let the rhetoric get to their mind. And I think that's what's happening in America. Too many Americans are letting the rhetoric of the progressive left get to their mind. Now we have this situation with this border crisis, and we have, I'm pretty sure, without a shadow of a doubt, we have terrorists in our country coming in our country that are a part of that 700,000 that have not been caught, that have not been identified, that have not been arrested in this country right now, setting up systems. We're going to end up with another 9/11, only this time it's going to be much, much worse because people are not waking up. I'm just saying. So what do you guys think about this article? What do you think about this situation at the border? What do you think about this? You know, what do you think about the individual that made these statements? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again.